Hey everyone, Andrew Hall with BigZebra.com and Tobin Templeman. How you doing, Tobin? How you doing, Big
Morning.
Z?
Good, thank you. Hey, may we inquire after the health of the girlfriend? How's she
Yes,
doing?
yes, she is doing well. Yep, she's doing fine. If you've been watching this space, if you've been checking in on us, the girlfriend had COVID, got out of quarantine on Tuesday, and she seems to be fine. She had bronchitis when she was younger, and
Hmm.
bad bronchitis. So whenever she has a tendency of getting respiratory, bad respiratory infections. So it was, there was a chance that things could have gone sideways with her getting COVID. But she's triple vaxxed, and she got some monoclonal antibodies, and she's doing fine right now. She's doing well, though. Right
Glad
now.
to hear it.
So here's the calculation, and maybe you guys can help. Maybe people in the chat can help me too, right? So she's like super immune at this point. She's had COVID recently, so she has the antibodies from that. She had the monoclonal antibody treatment, and she's triple vax. So she is. I'm not going to use the term bulletproof because we all know that no one's ever really bulletproof. And right now, I feel like I'm in good health. I was, around her when she was like super shutting the virus and when we didn't know about it, that she was, positive. And I never got it. And so I'm feeling good, and so the problem is, everyone, is that we're planning to go out to the movies on New Year's Eve, but the movie theater is a small independent movie theater. It's a nonprofit. They require vaccinations to be in the movie theater.
Hi, John.
Hey, what's up? So the issue is whether or not, because of course the rates are going up crazy, right? The Omicron rates are going crazy. Whether or not we
Mm.
go out for a drink afterwards, right? So we get out of the shit like maybe 10, and then whether or not, because even though I feel pretty confident that she's not going to get sick, uh, is it crazy to go out to a bar right now on New Year's Eve? And as soon as I say it, I know that sounds stupid. But I want to hear what everyone else thinks about how stupid I am.
I would instead get the elaborate fixings for your favorite cocktail and make an event of it at home.
Mm, mm,
That's my
mm.
guess.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem as fabulous as going out to a nice place with great lighting and wonderful glasses and all the booze you could ask for.
Well, that's what bothers me about going out, anyways. Is drinking out of the glasses. I'll have a bottle of beer. I don't drink draft. I seen the way they fucking wash their glasses.
John Hudson on fire. Yeah. This is I had never thought about it like that. So when you go out, no drafts. You're
No,
just right from the bottle.
right. But I guess I fuck up because I do order a shot. But that's alcohol that would probably kill anything that was on there. I don't know.
I was about to say that. I would imagine if you're drinking the hard stuff, that's gonna kill whatever. It's gonna kill you probably, and as well as whatever's in the glass.
Well, that's why I jumped on when I heard you talking about bulletproof.
Mm, mm, mm. Yeah, bulletproof is awfully like unsinkable. You know, um,
The Titanic.
yeah, blub blub blub. Right.
Glug, glug.
Um, so, what do you think, Tobin? Should I stay in? Should I go out? What should I do? What in this moral quandary that I'm in?
Should he stay or should he go now?
Yeah.
If he goes,
Oh
there
man,
will be trouble.
oh man, it's hard for me to say like no to a good time, but there is. I would pause for that and think about that one. I, for me, like, man, would I go into a bar right now? I don't know. I've really stayed away from all those places. I haven't been in a long time. There's a bowling alley I really want to go to. Like I've gotten some practice with the Wii remote and
Right.
bowling on there, and I would really like to. I don't know.
I can't do bowling alleys. It's about sticking my fingers where I know other people's fingers have been.
Ron Hudson, what I'm hearing is that you should bring a bottle of the hard stuff with you when you go bowling.
It's a little spritzer thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
All that finger smegma that's been down in there.
But don't they have bowling gloves?
They do, and you could buy your own ball.
Yeah. Well,
You know,
I just can't bowl.
Yeah.
Well, actually, John Hudson, I hear that because our mouths are actually antibacterial in some ways, that if you take the bowling ball and then tongue all 3 holes.
that does not work, sir.
Okay, that's a myth then. All right. I was never an expert.
Well, this is the problem, Theo, right? Because I lost. I mean, even though I had paid time off to use when I had to quarantine, I don't want to quarantine again for another. Even if it's only 5 days. I know that they're readjusting the quarantine period from 10 days down to 5. At least that's what I heard. And I don't want to quarantine again for 5 days because I just came out of like a semi-quarantine and that kind of sucked. That sucked a lot.
So educate me on that, Andy, with that 5 days. So they've decided that there's only a window of 5 days that if you've been exposed, you're going to be sick.
So here it is. If you are CDC, and I'm looking at the CDC site right here. This is from 3 days ago, and maybe I should have mentioned this in the first show, as against to the fucking NFT shit. CDC updates and shortens recommended isolation and quarantine period for the general population. This is a media statement from the CDC from December 27th. Let's see. People with COVID-19 should isolate for 5 days if they're asymptomatic or their symptoms are resolving without fever for 24 hours. Follow that by 5 days of wearing a mask around others to minimize the risk of infecting people they encounter. So, yeah, it smells like BS to me, to tell you the truth. It smells like they don't want there's this desire not to have the economy closed down again.
Well, that's what I was going to get at. It sounds like some corporate BS. We can't have our people taking time off if they're sick.
Yeah, I know, dude. I know. I don't know. I don't know how often you yell at the TV. But,
Me?
Anyone. I was watching the news yesterday, and there was a CDC, the person who's in charge of the CDC, and the question was, what mask should I be wearing? And her response, what she led in with, whatever mask you have is the right mask. And I'm going, this is the shittiest. This is why people hate government right here. This is why people hate liberals, is because you ask them for a simple question and they have to write like 5 or 6 paragraphs just to answer something that you could put in a bullet point, right? If you're being asked, what is the right mask? What you don't want to hear is, whatever you have, that's great, as long as it covers you. No. Just tell them the best mask they should wear. It's as simple as that. And when you don't do things like that, you muddy up your messaging. That's why I was yelling at the TV last night.
The verbal goulash gets just fucking crazy, man.
Yeah. It's just tell me it simply. Tell me what you recommend as a doctor.
She could have said N95 is the best. Get one if you can afford it.
Yeah.
And if not, wear any mask.
Yeah, you don't have to talk about the electrostatic nature of the masks and how they keep the coronavirus away from the inside of your mouth by trapping them. You don't have to talk about that. Just say N95 or the K whatever masks. Just say that.
Over explaining. It's kind of like that new movie, the Don't Look Up.
Don't Look Up.
Yeah, it's
such a smart movie.
If you over explain some things, then you lose people. Yeah, if you just get right to the point,
right there,
more direct, it's very helpful. Right. And even for me, I like it when people are that way.
Oh yeah, yeah. Jesse Bear says masks are not like gifts. It's not the thought that counts. Oh, well said, Jesse Bear. This is a
Mm.
legitimate, it's legitimate medical needs and science. Well said, well said. Yeah, yeah. It isn't the thought that counts. Yeah. So
Well, at
um,
first I was getting mad at, when this coronavirus was coming out because they were changing, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that and stuff. But, things change daily.
right. Well, it's like once again, it's like a football game in a lot of ways, right? I mean, just as one of the metaphors I've been working with, it's if what your team is doing isn't working, then you got to change up what you're doing, and that's all this is. It's the same thing. So
Science.
it's just changing what the strategy is and how to combat the virus. You would do the same thing in any other competition, in any other kind of conflict. Why wouldn't you do it when you're fighting a virus?
Right.
Oh, because people like how it is. It's so comfortable, though. Don't make me change.
Well, there is a
No.
there there is a lot of laziness involved too. Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of like the mask thing. I think most people have ugly faces, and I don't want to look at them.
Yes. I'm not going to say no to that. Well, what I find when in the cold weather, when I have my mask on, I like wearing my mask outside just because of the fact it keeps me warmer.
Right.
That is definitely an added benefit during the colder weather, for sure.
Blazing says the only social event I have partaken in is getting my vaccine. Well, that's a good social event to be engaged in.
I was getting out a little bit, not nearly like I used to.
Yeah.
I mean, before this, I would be out at a bar. I love live music, checking out local talent, probably 3 or 4 times a week.
Oh yeah.
Just I'd go out to the bar by myself and have me a couple drinks, maybe some dinner, and listen to the band. Be home by 10, 11, and maybe do it again the next night. I've been out a couple times, but
yeah. Maybe. So have I. I've been like for my birthday. Yeah, my birthday's in the summer, so it's convenient to be outside drinking and enjoying myself on my birthday.
Well, too, the first 2 variants weren't as contagious as what's going down right now. It just seems like that the Omicron is a lot more contagious than the others, but then they're saying it's not as deadly. But why are there so many deaths?
It's not as deadly if you're vaccinated. It's not as deadly if you're careful. Yeah, I mean, we saw the graphs yesterday from the New York Times about the counties that the death rates have actually gone up since adult vaccination became available. The vaccines become available, and that's because of Omicron and Delta. It's just been spreading more, and if you're not vaccinated, you're more likely to get, of course, infected, and the viral load you're going to get is going to be higher with that initial infection. So yeah, you're going to get effed up.
Well, I tried to get the booster. And they told me I couldn't do it without having my card with me, and it's at the same pharmacy that done the second shot. Mm-hmm. I'm like, why did you? I've had my shot here. You have record of that?
Yes.
We need record of your first shot. I'm like, but you needed record of my first shot to give me the second shot. So. Yeah, and it's been a joke to try to get the record out of the first place I got it. It's a couple of towns over. I went to Kyle, Texas, to get the first shot because they had availability.
Yeah.
So I drove county over to get it, and now I I've tried calling them several times. Wait on hold for 45 minutes.
Yeah, there just aren't people. I mean, especially in the healthcare facility.
Right, I understand that.
They're just people who are sick. There are people who just decide to sit it out. There are people who have long-term COVID who can't work. Yeah, it's a mash. I was talking the other day about my doctor's office basically sending all of us an email saying, "Don't bother us."
Yeah.
Just the bureaucratic bullshit. I mean, the second, I mean, the place that did my second shot is where I was trying to get the booster. So they knew I had that first shot.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to explain to them, sir, I don't make the rules. And,
You know, there's a lot of people.
bend them rules then.
You know,
Just
that's frustrating, dude. I'm sorry. I'm
just
sorry.
trying to live, you know?
Yeah. I've heard Charlie Baker, the governor of Massachusetts. He was on the radio on a talk show, talking about how Massachusetts is trying to team up with other states to create a digital vaccine passport, right? So you could just have it on your phone and just show people that get a QR code or something, and you're.
Oh, thank you for reminding me. We have that in Canada, and I haven't gotten off my ass and gotten it done.
Shakes fist at healthy society north of us.
No, I didn't mean it like that. I just
The American in me wants to invade. The American in me is jealous and angry and not really understanding.
And we'll be waiting at the border with coffee and donuts for all of you.
Oh, you glorious bastards.
Say, hey, good to see you. It's been a long time.
What's up, B? Glad to
It's
see that you're here.
B.
Yeah.
Yeah, that John Christian that you just had up here a moment ago, that dude jams out too.
Oh, does he?
On the guitar. Yeah, dude, he plays very well.
I invited John this morning to come join us.
Oh, okay, cool.
Right on.
Yeah, I've been following. He does this thing on Facebook called Christian Stories, about how good play on words. He's a wonderful storyteller. He's got a couple books out, and a really awesome guy. I met him through Jimmy Lou, just like you, Andy.
Oh yeah,
and Andy turned me on to Tobin, and met Zebra this way. The community is growing. It's strong, and it's getting stronger.
Yeah. Jimmy Lou's a good guy. I talked with him last night, actually. And here's the thing, right? And it isn't just creating content. It's all the work that comes that is networking and talking to people and sitting down and just having conversation. I chatted with Jimmy Lou last night. I chatted with Bo of the Fifth Column on Twitter, messaging back and forth about a thing about me doing a response video to one of his videos, and it isn't going to be a negative one. It's going to be more of a yes and kind of bit over the weekend. So that's one of the things I'm going to be doing too. But yeah, always. But Jimmy's a great guy.
Well, Bo, he's pretty dead on most of the time.
Oh yeah. He's a good guy. Solid.
There's a couple things that he's done about police and such that I didn't agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
But I don't agree with you wholeheartedly either, Andy. Most time, yes. Most of the time, yes. But I'm kind of a fucked up person, I think, for myself.
I say, obviously the things I say, I do believe.
Yes.
And I know that I'm left of left, and I know I say things that are, not everyone's going to agree with.
You're right.
But the thing is, I don't quote Ronald Reagan most of the time. I'm not a Reagan fan, but Reagan said, "Look, if we agree on 85% of the things, that's okay. I can deal with the last 15%. Of course, my caveat, my addendum to that is, as long as you're not a Nazi, right? We can agree on music and art, and but if you're a Nazi, then I don't think I can agree with you on that's an important 15% there. But yeah, if I agree with you most of the time, then that's cool.
If I agree with you 51% of the time, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt to listen to you again.
Yeah. Well, that's, you raise a good point, is that it's all about whether or not the person that you're engaging with is making a good faith effort, or if they're just, or excuse me, if they're just a freaking grifter, right? If they're just a con person, if they're just a con artist, and using their platform just to squeeze people for money. And I don't get that from Bo. And there are some people that definitely are, but I stay away from those folks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's disturbing when you hear that somebody begged for help, for money to, say, move across town because of some disaster. And it turns out they didn't move at all, and there was no disaster.
Yeah.
And I've heard those stories a bit too often lately. I hope they're not true.
I don't have a lot of money, and I don't talk about the money that I do give, but there have been times that I've known people, I in this space that I'm like, I can help you out a little bit. I know your story. I know that you're, once again, you're not a con artist. You're not a scammer, and that I can throw a couple of shekels your way. That's not a problem. I don't have a problem with that. But if I just don't know you and you hit me up on Facebook within 5 minutes of you friending me accepting your friend request, saying that you're, in a serious situation and you need, please send money. And let's face it, on Facebook, it's ridiculously easy to send people money. You just got to hit that little button. I'm like, yeah, you're just there to squeeze people for cash, and I'm not your friend.
Well, I'm king of this European community that you've never heard of, and I'm in exile right now. I've got billions in the bank over there, but I need your dollars to help fund me to get it back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I got one of those emails, and I wrote back, "Excuse me, I don't understand. I don't see how you could fit that many rutabagas inside a llama, even if you did hollow it out first."
That's funny. That's funny.
And I've been using that line ever since.
Yeah, if it's working for you, sure. I think that's brilliant. That's good.
Thank you. I do what I can.
Yeah. What when I was looking for work before I got this job, there was a number of scams. If you're looking for work on the internet, which everyone does to some extent, right? Now, if you're looking for work, you will invariably run into a scammer trying to get you to give them their, to either cash a check for them that is just going to bounce, or to take your personal information. And it's kind of dangerous.
I haven't been on Facebook and Twitter for very long, and whenever I first it's maybe been less than a year, and I first got Facebook, I had I was just hitting random people and being like, yes, okay, yeah.
Yep.
And I got so much of that crap. People telling me I won the lottery, and then I just need to get. Yeah. There was all kinds of different ways they're trying to get at you.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And the phishing too. The phishing emails; those are awful.
Well, the new one. You won the contest. Because I'll find a meme that I like or something, and I'll share it. Congratulations, you just won. Link onto this. Yeah. I'm like, Russian bot much? Yeah, that one always kills me.
What's up, Richard Madsen?
Hey, it's Richard Madsen.
Yeah.
Hi, Richard.
Oh, you have to go to work, B. I'm sorry to hear that. Take care.
Bye.
So what's Tobin? No plans for this? You gonna make some videos or anything cool?
Right now, I've had to switch gears the way I'm doing things. Right now, I'm working out the rest of the drums. I have 3 more songs to complete the drums, and then I'll get the next song is Sisyphean that I'm going to release, but I'm trying to finish all the drums to the songs so then I can change some things around over here.
Yeah, John Christian, this is what I say to people. If you can't afford to give me a couple of shekels, don't. I'm very good about not getting money. I have like a whole history. I have a resume. If I had a resume about how many times I said no to money, it would be like multiple pages. So yeah, if you can't afford it, then don't do it. Keep yourself, especially if you're here in the States. You
I
gotta.
believe John's in Canada.
Oh, okay, so that's good. So that makes it better.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you can't afford money, if you can't afford that, yeah.
And
totally
I may be wrong, but I believe that's what he was from Canada. He's
Mhm.
so.
He looks Canadian.
He looks Canadian. He looks like he has health care.
Okay, that's funny. That's really funny. There's something that makes South Park beloved in Canada is
What's
that Canadians depicted have different types of heads,
Oh yeah,
and
that's
they
great.
move differently from American.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I just absolutely love it.
Right. What is it? The Terrence and Philip show? I
Yes.
haven't seen South Park for a long time. Yeah.
Flappy heads.
Yes, yes. And weird accents that no one in Canada speaks that way, but here they are.
Hey, Terrence, pull my finger.
That's right. Theoretically, Theo, I don't want to be the person to break this to you, but that Prince of Uganda who only needs $2,000, yeah, that may not be real. That might be a scam.
Mm. I remember I was in New York City and it was unbelievably hot. And I walked down the street that was deserted, which is weird for Manhattan.
Mhm.
And there were these two glass towers that were beating down on me like magnifying glasses. And I just realized, even though I was like 28 or something, I was in serious trouble all of a sudden. And there was this movie theater, and none of the movies I wanted to see, except there was air conditioning.
Oh yeah.
And so I went in and I selected the South Park movie because at least it promised humor.
Yes.
And I went in and had an absolutely great time.
Oh, it
And
delivered on the humor. Yeah.
oh yeah, like I didn't really know South Park. I knew it existed.
Yeah.
And I went in to see the film, and that's where they had the Blame Canada
Oh, that's
song,
good.
which was also wonderful. Yes.
Well, Nick, Jack was the other day. He's like, sorry to his dad. And his dad's like, what are you, Canadian?
Yeah.
And then I go to Jack, tell your mom sorry. He goes, no, I don't want to be Canadian.
Wow. I'm texting.
That would be a great song itself. I don't want to be Canadian. I don't
Saying
want to
sorry all the time.
It sounds like a bit of a country and western song, the way I said it.
I don't
We'll
wanna
leave it in the
be
hands of Tobin.
Canadian.
Tobin, you've got to make the song. We need you.
Mama, don't let your
Boys grow up to be
children grow
To
up
be Canadian.
That is funny though. That is funny. Don't let
I
your
like
boys grow up to be Canadian. Yeah.
I could run with
Well,
that.
I thought that Bigger, Longer, Uncut, the South Park, I think that could be made into just the most excellent Broadway play.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, the musical scores there, a great storyline. It has all the fixings to be great. Did you ever see Book of Mormon?
Oh yeah. Dude,
No, I want to see that. But
I still
Oh,
haven't seen that one either.
Dude, that was epic. The musical score, everything. It was epic.
I saw it twice. I saw it once many years ago with Boston Atheists. There was a group of us from the Boston Atheists group who went to go see it together. And I remember that in the Book of Mormon, the little flyer that they gave you, right? The little booklet that they gave you.
Playbill.
Yeah, playbill. In the playbill, thank you for telling me words that are right. There
I do
were
what I can.
there were several ads, several advertisements for the actual Church of Mormon. They were like, now that you saw the musical, check out what the real Book of Mormon is like. It's like,
Yeah.
Well, in Utah, the Salt Lake Acting Company, they did this thing called Saturday's Voyeur, because the Mormons put out this movie Sunday's Warrior. And so every year, Salt Lake Acting Company would do a parody of Utah's politics and the political climate of Utah. And it's ran for like 30 plus years. Epic show every year.
Very nice. Very nice.
Oh, what was cool about Salt Lake Acting Company too is you could take in, everybody would like take in bottles of wine. I have a briefcase that I put gin and vermouth in and olives, and I had a shaker, 2 martini glasses, and I'm up front row and I'm shaking the martini. Everybody fucking stopped acting, walked up to the end of the stage and started tapping their foot like, "Are you done?"
Nice. Well, I think the problem was, yes, the fact that you were probably making a noise if you're making.
Yeah. The box said liquid lunch on it. It was
wow,
pretty cool.
That reminds me of another thing that South Park did, is that they did a show which talked about Scientology, and they had a long thing about aliens dropping souls in volcanoes.
Yes.
And it says underneath it, this is what Scientologists actually believe. And it turns out all sorts of people who knew Scientology existed but didn't know that they had these sorts of beliefs were informed by watching that show. And it was a sort of lesson to me that, considering how busy our lives are, I think I can be forgiven. Steven Spielberg, for example, can be forgiven for not knowing what Scientology is. But I heard that he learned what it was by watching that episode of South Park.
Well, yeah, you can learn a lot, many dirty secrets by looking at art, by watching these shows. Comedy shows. Like in Mormonism, God has a wife, the Celestial Mother, and her job is to pump out celestial babies.
And she's always very supportive of her husband's endeavors.
Oh, of course, because that's what submission is all about, my friend. Scientology, yes, they're all about the A-bombs and volcanoes and thetans and souls. The official Catholic doctrine is the fact that the wafer actually becomes the body of Christ. It isn't just a metaphor. This is transubstantiation. This is like what is doctrine. You can learn a lot through comedians just making jokes about things.
Well, there's a wonderful Tom Lear song which I recommend to everyone called "The Vatican Rag." And he does this wonderful jazz song about transubstantiation and everything else. And I think Catholics like it too. But
I was thinking about this the other day, and I was talking to the girlfriend about this, is that when we talk about, and this has to do about the Satanic Temple, right? The Satanic Temple, it's an atheist religion. And whenever I talk about the temple, or whenever there's conversations about the temple, about how can you have an atheist religion, it's like, well, certain strains of Buddhism, for example, have are atheistic and a faith too at the same, or religion too at the same time. And then I thought, what a talking point they probably don't want you to mention is the fact that Scientology is also an atheist religion when you think about it, right? I don't think there's any deity in Scientology. There's aliens. There are aliens out there, in Scientology, but I don't think there's any.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
I was thinking that the Satanists should do a mockery of the host ritual, the Eucharist, by having their Eucharist concentrated into the body of Ed McMahon.
See, now that's an old school reference right there, Ed McMahon.
Yeah, it's too old. We need a more modern co-host that everyone knows now.
Yeah. You got to use
like that Lemon guy on CNN. What's his name? He's
Don
not
Lemon.
a co-host. Pardon me?
He has his own show, Don Lemon. Dom Lemon?
Don Lemon. Okay, well, why not just make it Don Lemon? It's a host. We won't go with the co-host line.
Well, you run into, Big Zebra. You actually, state an implied law of comedy is that when you do references, you have to make sure that it's wide enough for people to get it. right? So that
Yes.
and timely. Yeah.
It's just that Ed McMahon in my brain, he was co-host for so many years, and but of course he's not modern. And if brevity is the soul of wit, maybe freshness is an important ingredient too.
Right. Right.
Ed McMahon. You are correct, sir.
See, because there's so many things you have to start explaining to people under a certain age who Ed
Yeah.
McMahon is. You have to talk about Johnny Carson. It's like, oh, Johnny Carson, he was that dude that did that thing, and yeah, there's a lot of having to there's a lot of exposition there for that joke to fly. Yeah.
Yeah, who's the biggest show host right now? I guess it would be David Letterman or Jay Leno. I don't know.
Both
Oh,
retired.
David Letterman is off the air, so there's another one you can't use.
They're both, yeah, exactly. This is you got Seth Meyers who's on there. Jimmy Fallon is up there. Stephen Colbert, of course.
Right?
Yes, maybe Stephen Colbert. He would appreciate that joke since he's such a Catholic.
Yeah, he is. He is. He does cling to his faith.
Mm-hmm.
Cornyn is the guy I like.
Oh, yeah. To tell you the truth, what do I watch on TV? I don't know, man. I mean, I'll watch some documentaries maybe. And what did I watch last night? I watched something last night. I know that. I can tell you that I watched something on the telly. I don't really know what it is.
What was it?
And it seemed somewhat entertaining too. And it was my choice. The Witcher, right? Every single time I watch The Witcher on Netflix, I realize I have some real issues with the show because it's obviously a ripoff of Michael Moorcock's Elric of Melniboné series that he wrote. And I was a big fan of Elric. Yes. And so there was just another Wildheart. Do we know Wildheart? Yes, I think we know Wildheart.
Yeah.
Wildheart.
Yes, we do. He's everybody's favorite drunken guy from the UK.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I've got your thing going. 1 second on my laptop.
I don't know if it's just because you're so drunk, your speech is slurring, or the fact that you had an audio issue.
No, I just been going on my laptop.
I hope you're feeling better there, Wildheart.
You can I swear on your channel?
You can't use the F word. We're going to try to avoid the F word.
All right. You are a legend. Thank you very much for letting me on. You have saved a mentally ill person from. Dude, yeah. Thank you.
I'm glad that you're here, Wildheart.
I like how Wildheart does this sort of Stevie Wonder impersonation now, where he sort of rocks back and forth to the music.
I like the vibe. That's what it is. More smiles. You can't go wrong with more smiles. That's what it is.
Exactly. I mean, Wildheart's almost as delightful as I am. That's
wow. This is not a competition about who is delightful and who is not delightful. That's
true.
You are all
quite
delightful. You are all delightful. You are all delightful.
Kind words. In case you don't know, I've been on atheist chats for years, and I mention in passing that I'm a delight, and it's become sort of a running gag. So that's what I bring up here.
Yeah, a consummate delight. Delight.
Thank you.
You can find Big Zebra on Eric Von Daniken things too. I run into him all the time.
Yeah, Ancient Aliens. I love that.
Oh, I love that. I love to troll that shit.
Oh, it's so much fun, and you can just put ridiculous things in. I like YouTube videos that say things like 5 ancient mysteries we still haven't solved, and then I'll put something in the comment that I came up with. In the comments, I'll write something like, "Yeah, I was going to solve these mysteries." ... But then things got really crazy at work, and people love it. And I know it's not right, but I make the same joke over and over again, because I really like those sorts of videos.
I do too. But when Von Daniken starts talking about Michael Cremo or just Sitchin, Zechariah Sitchin and stuff. I mean, them guys didn't really, they weren't formally trained on Sumeric writing. And so their interpretations were really flawed, you know?
The answer to all von Daniken's questions are no. No.
Yeah, you're wrong.
Does he do?
Go back to Switzerland.
I am unacquainted with his material, but does he do questions like, "Is it possible that blah 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 blah"?
Is it possible that Egypt created the pyramids? No, it's not. No.
The thing about von Daniken is he tries to throw it out as fact. He's the guy who wrote Chariots of the Gods back in the 60s, late 60s, early 70s. And as a young man, I read that book and I was just like, oh wow, you know, and bought into it. I mean, because I was young. Hey, here comes my little guy. I'm out.
See you later, sir. Take care.
All right,
Continue,
Later, John.
Take care, guys.
Thank you.
And so now I've just, you know, this is not good for my mental health to see how many YouTube subscribers this guy has, Eric von Daniken. And I like the one thing I can say about Daniken is that I do like the umlauts on top of his A and Daniken. He has 103 subscribers, so 103,000.
Hey, let's all go to subscribe to him. And Eric von Daniken official. I think I found a channel. I'll put it in chat. And why don't we all promise to troll a bit? You know, not like vicious, but just sort of saying, yeah, I believe I can fly, and then just put in the lyrics to some stupid song.
Right.
I believe I can touch
Shit like that.
Slight topic change. I need my booster for my vaccine. Everyone here is pro-vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So you haven't gotten your booster yet?
No, I don't know how to get it. I need to go to the NHS. I know it's different in the UK. I need to go to the NHS website to get my booster.
Right,
So
right.
I'll be right back.
Okay. Yeah. So Danikins, I'm just looking at his quackery on his channel. It's like revealing ancient truths, evidence of advanced knowledge, the scars of Eden, the Russian Roswell. Oh my fictitious god!
It's weird. They often believe that there was an ancient civilization like 25,000 years ago that was very, very advanced. And they're never specific about how advanced it was and why we don't have any evidence of their technology.
It's because it's so advanced, man. Don't you know? It's advanced. And so there's no evidence because it's all biodegradable because it's made with hemp.
You're right. Suddenly it's all, you're really bringing this into focus, Dr. Kennard.
See how easy it is to BS? You know, yeah, if I had no morals, then I would just go on, make another channel and start talking about hemp-based ancient aliens, you know, and I would sell supplements. And I'd be.
I think you should set aside your morals in favor of money and make some money.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
Oh, so Jessie Bear says her husband likes to watch that crap for the laughs. So that's good. That's good.
Oh, do you remember that show Finding Bigfoot?
Yeah.
There was this absolutely hilarious thing where they had these infrared eye gear, and they could see something that was giving off infrared heat, and in some sort of meadow amongst all these trees. And then they went down there, and when they got there, nothing was there. And the big galoot said it was like they were never even here. And I thought, and I laughed and laughed, and I thought, is this guy trolling us with ridiculous things to make us laugh, or does he really believe that Bigfoot was in that meadow and took off?
I think what happened is that he's probably someone who really wants to keep his TV show money coming in. So he's going
Yeah.
to pay a lot of things to make sure that sweet, sweet TV show money keeps rolling in.
Well, that show's gone, I assume.
I don't believe it's still on now. He has an alien mystery park in Switzerland.
Yes,
Wow.
he does.
Wow, dude.
Let's all go to the alien mystery
Is there
park.
an ancient alien roller coaster?
I remember seeing a picture of it. It looked like one of those things where, like in the original Star Trek, they would go to wherever the World Expo was being held and film a few scenes for an
Mhm.
episode, and there'd be all this weird shit around that
Mhm.
but was of no obvious use. That was his. That's what his theme park looked like.
Jesse Bear points out something interesting here. So she writes, my hubby watched the Bigfoot show, and one of the kids watched it with him, and we had to explain it was BS because of course, your kid was convinced at first because kids, this is a bit, everyone. I just want to say that kids are dumb. They're very impressionable, especially when they have a parental. Richard Dawkins talks about this too, in terms of children looking at adults, looking at their parents as role models, and seeing the behavior that they do in terms of faith. So whenever something, and I sound like a lunatic when I say this, but when my kids and I were watching TV and there was bullshit on the TV, I'd be like, that's BS. And let me tell you why it's BS. I'm not just going to tell them it's BS. I'm just going to tell them, how was your shot? How was your booster? Wild Heart.
I can't. My brain isn't functioning well enough to work out it. I've been to 2 pharmacies today. It says on the NHS website to go to a pharmacy, and I went to 2, and so they couldn't do it. My brain isn't functioning well enough to work it out. I don't want to interrupt your show, so carry on.
Hey, Wild Heart.
I understood that too. I just want to say that I understood what you just said, but what would help me is a Babel fish in my ear, so
Yes.
I can interpret. The fish can interpret what everything all the time.
Maybe you have to drink as much as Wild Heart does to
Oh, no,
understand.
That doesn't help.
No. Okay.
I went to the NHS National Health Service website, and they said go to a pharmacy. So I went to 2 pharmacists. And they said, I'll try to speak for I can do this. They said, I went to 2 pharmacists and they said, I just don't have the brain capacity to work out how to book it at the moment. But I will do.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Are you feeling better, Wild Heart? Because you're in an awful lot of pain there for a while.
Yeah, I am feeling better. Yes.
Good. I was feeling it for you. Way over here, and I'm glad you're better.
Steve Ross and Dr. Khalad Ross and Toba Tepper.
That's what I always say, Tobin Templeman.
Thank you very much. No, seriously though, you have saved a mentally ill person from. I need to be on the stream constantly to stop me from thinking.
I try to keep people from thinking as much as humanly possible, to tell you the truth. I think I'm very adept at that.
Thank you. You are. Thank you.
Can I ask, there was something really strange in the news, and forgive me, it's kind of off topic.
Sure. There's no topic to be off, so that's fine.
Oh, okay. Ghislaine Maxwell has been found guilty out of 5 out of 6 counts.
Yes.
And they're all very serious counts. And the idea that some people, even wealthy people, are being made to pay and face consequences for absolutely abhorrent behavior, is this like a new thing? Could this spread? I'm not really sure. Thoughts?
I don't want to be the guy who says don't get your hopes up, but maybe don't get. I mean, the first thing that I thought is whether or not she's going to commit suicide in her cell at some point. just like Mr. Epstein did. And for those of you who don't know, what's her name again, Big Zebra?
Ghislaine Maxwell. There's an S in there, and you can say Ghislaine Maxwell, but
So she was with Jeffrey Epstein.
yes, she was an ex-girlfriend that then became his accomplice, and I think he was sort of an entry for her into American high society. She was always a big noise in the UK.
Yeah.
And why she didn't get the hell out of the United States, I don't know. She had enough money to live quite comfortably in a country with no extradition treaty.
Yeah.
But I think the arrogance factor is, well, what could they have on me? And if you have contempt for the victims in the first place, then you automatically have contempt for anything they would have to say. So you think other people will have that same attitude? Does that make sense?
It makes sense. You see the arrogance of power all the time. You see the arrogance of power continuously here. And then elsewhere, people think that they're untouchable.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And now there was that weird 14-year-old and his dad who shot up a convenience store.
I didn't hear about that. Is that in Colorado? Was that the Colorado thing?
I think it is. But you know what? I could look it up. But it was absolutely horrifying. And, what are you going to get out of a convenience store? Maybe the 2-liter Pepsi that you want?
This is, I'm sorry, Giselle.
Yes, British socialite Ghislaine Maxwell was convicted Wednesday of 5 federal sex trafficking charges after a jury concluded that she played a pivotal part in recruiting and grooming teenage girls to be sexually abused. That's not good. Sorry.
65 years.
Yeah. 65 years in prison. The judge has not set a sentencing date.
You know what I heard from that too is that the jury wanted to get out before, before the New Year's. And, there's a moral there, everyone. If you're gonna get tried for a crime, don't do it around New Year's because people will be angry at you if you're the defendant because you're the reason why they can't enjoy New Year's.
It's interesting because she put herself ahead of all these young girls, and now these jurors may be putting themselves ahead of her, and she needs their time and attention and care, and the same sort of time, attention, and care she didn't give to these young women she was supposedly mentoring.
Well,
is sex that important that you would do something that bad? I don't think it is. I don't think sex is so important that you. I'll shut up. So.
Trump and Clinton. People looking at Trump as well as Bill Clinton. I don't think anyone would be surprised that those guys were there. Not really that surprised. Not too surprised.
Correction. The convenience store shooting left 3 dead, not 4, and it was in Texas, not Colorado. And it's some weird thing where this 14-year-old was given a gun by his dad in part of a conspiracy to kill a bunch of people and steal some stuff. So, totally stupid. Excuse me. Stupid and absolutely horrifying.
Yeah. Well,
that was some sneeze.
Were there drugs involved? Was the dad on meth or... because a lot of things make sense to people when they're high that normally would not.
Oh yeah. I haven't. I'm just scanning it at the moment. They're still just trying to figure out who, what, when, and where, and the motives haven't entirely become clear here.
Yeah.
But we know that 20 rounds were found, the shell casings, and that's a lot for one convenience store. And they think it wasn't a robbery. It was just going in there to shoot a couple of people that he didn't like.
Oh, okay. Well, personal grievance, I'll tell you. If there's going to get... I can definitely see that. If you're angry at someone or if you got beef.
Yeah.
A lot of, when I was working with adolescent teens, for a while. And you can almost see it on their face when they hit what's called what I call the F it moment, right? When they say, I don't care. I don't care what the consequences are. Whatever the consequences are, I am going to do the thing. And it's like a light switch. It's like you just hit your moment there.
I have seen that light switch go off in multiple people in my past.
Yeah. And Spooky writes, her father was pretty bad. Amongst the stuff he did was to rip off a newspaper pension fund. As most of us know, right, the higher up you go in companies, or the further up you go in a hierarchy, right, the more likelihood you're going to encounter sociopaths. Just because sociopaths have a tendency of rising up in hierarchies because they treat people like they're things, and their main goal is to exercise pleasure by control. And what better place to exercise control than to go up high in a structure, in a societal structure. So that was, I'm not surprised that her dad, ducks make ducks. Ducks make ducks more often than not.
In other news, the sort of news that happens in my podunk little area, which I like, the big news was that somebody stole 2 cargo container trucks full of butter.
They stole what?
They hooked up 2 tractor trailers and drove them away, and they were filled with 200,000 pounds of butter.
What are you going to do with those?
Well, that's the thing. Well, the thought was
some Twinkies.
Yes. Well, the thing is that there's a whole network out there. For example, suppose the jobber that services, the wholesaler that services convenience stores, what if they get a hold of this butter and just sell it? And they have somewhere to sell it. Or even worse, what if they stole 200,000 pounds of butter and they can only sell 10,000 pounds? It's no profit to them.
This is true. You will, and I've mentioned this story before, but when Stalin did a famous bank robbery in Russia back well before the Russian Revolution, they basically took funds that they couldn't sell, that they couldn't get cash for. They took notes that were marked. And it was a huge robbery. It was a famous robbery in Russia at the time, but they eventually ended up burning a good portion of it just to keep themselves warm in the winter.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And this is the thing, right? Theo says, sick, corrupted world. I live for a day when we take these sociopaths and put them into good use, like making them comedians or something like that, right?
Can I just say this opportunity to thank Spooky better? He's helped me out a lot. Thank you, Spooky. Thank you a lot. Thank you. I'll mute that. I wanna buy.
All right, I'm going to start closing up the show, everyone. It's getting to be that time.
Alrighty.
So,
hey, thank you so much for doing this, Dr. Knard.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you, Dr. Knard. You are. I can't swear. Effing amazing. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome, Wild Heart.
Thank you.
And I think Sartre would say something like that. Theo. I think Jean-Paul Sartre wrote something like that. Yeah. All right. So everyone, no official show tomorrow. I will be dropping videos throughout the weekend, and of course I'll be dropping a video tonight at 8 p.m., which I was able to edit earlier this morning. So so that should be fun, right? That'll be fun. And so hey, have a safe weekend if we don't see each other live in this space, and take care.
Bye, everybody.
Hamala.
Shabala.
Thank you.
Hey, and I hit the